Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone on this happy Wednesday morning? And I want to share some news with you because we don't talk about these things enough, about the good things that our young children are doing and how they're getting good grades and excelling. So, this is the result of training up a child in the way they should go. Proverbs 22:6 tells us, and I'm reading from the King James Version, Proverbs 22:6 tells us, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. And so when we talk about training up a child, it says parents must commit themselves to the godly training and discipline of their children. That is so important. And if you came by my channel yesterday and I was doing some videos about being, women being good leaders and getting back being good leaders and taking back their homes to raise up their children, in the way they should go, and they won't depart from it. And if you do those things according to the biblical statutes, you can raise up some good leaders. And so the Hebrew word for train means to dedicate. Thus, it speaks of training with a purpose. Christian training has its purpose, the dedication of our children to God and His will. That is so important, to be dedicated to our children and to God, but to God first and our children and God's will. Accomplished by separating them from the world's evil influences and by instructing them in godly conduct. That is so important, to separate them from the evil influences of the world and instructing them into godly conduct. We just cannot say enough about that. And we see it today where there's young children twerking, and there's nothing wrong with teaching them to dance and have a love for music, but shouldn't we be teaching them some things that's going to help them be better citizens, help them to change laws, that the things and policies and procedures, and teach them to be good leaders and have good conduct in the world, and how to treat one another in the world, on your job, at the church, at church, just being good leaders. And I truly believe this, and teaching them to separate them from the evil influences of the world. And so the same root word can also mean to give or cultivate a taste for. Parents must encourage their children to seek God for themselves, and thus to enjoy genuine spiritual experiences they will never forget. Genuine experiences, spiritual experiences they will never forget. He will not depart from it. And then the general principle is that a properly trained child will not depart from the godly ways taught by his or her parents. However, this is not an absolute guarantee. And we know that. We see that too, that some parents say, yeah, I was in the church, I took them to church, and sometimes we don't know what the outcome is going to be, but God does know. But most of the time, if you train them up and teach them, they won't depart. But we know it's not an absolute guarantee that all children of God-fearing parents will remain true to God and His word. We see that today with one of the YouTubers that's been talking a lot of stuff, and she came out originally, talking about Christ and this and that, and now she's on some other thing, and it's just, so she's departed from it. I don't know, but anyway, she came out talking about God's word and this stuff, and now she's actually on some other thing, and it's making statements that totally unladylike, unclassic, unrighteous. I mean, just like craziness. But anyway, we're not on that. But anyway, when living in an evil society where many of God's people are themselves unfaithful, the children of godly parents can be influenced. The children of godly parents can be influenced to sin and give in to temptation. And one of the things that, going back to one of the T.D. Jakes' daughter, when she was in the pews, but lost in the pews, but found in the world. She wrote a book, and it was Lost in the Pews, Found in the World. And she was pregnant as a teenager because, she got caught up in temptation, and she got caught up, and she went out into the world. And that's what tends to happen sometime, where it says, when living in an evil society where many of God's people are themselves unfaithful, the children of godly parents can be influenced to sin and to give in to temptation. And then where God speaks of an apostasy, so great that even righteous men like Noah, Daniel, and Job could not save their own sons or daughters. But again, raising up a child, training up a child in the way they should go, and they'll never depart. And the thing about this is, I want to share with you this story. And I won't be long before you, but I'm going to share this story because we need to talk more about the good news of what our young people are doing and young children are doing, and giving credit to the parents, and the fact that this child was engaged and she has honor and respect for her mother and her grandmother. And so it says this teen is the first Black valedictorian in her school's 152-year history. Now, this is out of Albany, New York. Albany, New York. She's 17 years old. And this is an article coming from Good Morning America. She's the first black valedictorian. Her name, she has a long name, but I'm just going to tell you her go by Onavu. That's what she goes by, Onavu. And she will graduate in this June from Albany High School with a 4.0 GPA. And she says it's overwhelming and really surreal to me, especially hearing from Black girls from other schools, that it inspired and motivated them, reaching out to me saying it was so nice to see one of us in there. And she told Good Morning America, it's not really a win for me. It's a win for my community. See, this is what I'm talking about. She has embraced the concept of helping others, and it's not about self or me. It's about helping others. And she sees the big picture for her community. And she says it's really not just a win for me. It's a win for my community. I feel a responsibility now. I'm not only interested or representing, I'm not only representing myself, she says, I'm representing a group of people. See, this is the thing about being able to be successful and recognized, but to give of yourself and to not make it about you, but to make it about others, and to include others in what you're doing and your recognition, because you said it's not only representing myself, I'm representing a group of people. She says it's not just a win for me, it's a win for my community. And if we can teach children to understand, to be unselfish in their ways, and to help other people, and to know that the impact that you make in school or in your home community is going to impact your community. It's going to send a message to your community. You can be what you strive to be, setting the example for others to follow. And I have to give credit to this young woman, because she's wise for her age, to say that it's not just representing me, but it represents my community, a bigger picture. And she says, I'm really honored to be in this position, but I certainly hope that I am not the last. See, she has good vibes and good thoughts and good wishes for other people to succeed. And she hopes that she's not the last in doing so. And she says that she is the president of multiple school clubs, co-captain of the soccer team, and co-editor-in-chief of her digital school newspaper. She also is part of the Tri-M Music Honor Society, plus she plays the piano and violin. And then outside of school, Onavu is involved in the Science and Technology Entry Program, which is called the STEP. Some programs say STEM, but hers is STEP. It is a research volunteer. She is a research volunteer at the Myelin Lab and Albany Medical Center. She's also a volunteer for Bible-based education outreach and works part-time in a nursing home. This is good news for this young woman. Very good news. And one of her favorite subjects in school is engineering classes, robotics, computer science, which are contributing to her pre-engineering diploma. She also enjoys music classes. When she's not studying or participating in extracurricular activities, Onavu says she enjoys composing music, going to the mall with her friends, and watching reality TV with her grandmother. As a parent, her mom is speaking, and she says, I'm in awe of her curiosity, her respect, just respect for her parents, for others, respect, her empathy, being able to understand what someone else is going through, empathy, having that heart, that heart of love and empathy and reflective, listening to see, to hear other people and to see what they're going through. She has empathy, placing herself in other people's shoes. She sees it. She's placing herself in other people's shoes, and she's saying, this is not just about me. It's about my community. It's about helping others. She hopes she's not the last. She hopes there's others to come after her. She has empathy for others, placing herself in other people's shoes, knowing what it's like, seeing the vision for others, not just herself, for others, but having that respect and that empathy and her humility. That's another thing, being humble, and her good work ethic. Good work ethic. This is her mother, Jessica, talking. And she said Albany is the same high school that she went to, and it's part of her history. It's beyond amazing. And we're just proud, she added. We're in college decision mode. And she's talking about, and I want to show you this picture of her. Look at her at 3 years old. If you can see this picture of her at 3 years old, she at 3 years old, 3 years old, 3 years old, she actually was in a Black Family Technology Awareness Day where they went to this event at RPI, and she built a bridge using toothpicks and gumdrops when she was 3 years old. 3 years old, my brothers and sisters, my friends and family. And so the strength of competitors' structures were tested. On Nouveau was one of several students that won the competition at 3 years old, raising a child up in the way they should go. They'll never depart. Let me tell you, they start young with her. 3 years old is young, and we got to start young. We can't wait till they get 12, 15, 16, 20 years old and want to change them and train them. We got to start at a young age with our children. And she applied to more than 20 colleges and was accepted into Harvard, Yale, Brown, Columbia, Cornell, Stanford, Carnegie Mellon, Boston University, Northeastern, Georgia Tech, Johns Hopkins, and Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, to name a few. That's saying to name a few. Now that's several, multiple, and to name a few. But anyway, her picture is actually on a bus. Her picture is actually on a bus. See her picture? She's on a bus. Her picture is on a bus. Besides that, is on a bus, and she also is it says that she still is exploring her options, though she would like a career specializing in robot assisted procedures in pediatric neurosurgery. That's big. That's big because some hospitals use robotic surgery, and I'm aware of a physician. I can't think of his name now. He's a physician where I worked for almost 20 years, and he actually did the robotic assisted surgery. I believe the first one to do it or something like that, and so she wants to do that, and that's big because we actually need more people, able to do robot assisted procedures in pediatric neurosurgery, And Onovu says she has several pieces of advice to rising students, which she shared with Good Morning America. And so I want to share what she says. Join clubs or groups you're passionate about. She's only involved in activities she truly enjoys. She said, I didn't force myself to do something I didn't get anything out of. So if you're going to do something, strive and aspire to do things that you're going to be happy about, that you truly enjoy, and you're going to get something out of to help other people. And then she says you got to create your own future. So she's not looking for other people to create her future for her. She stepped up as a leader. And see, this is what I was talking about yesterday when I did my videos. If you haven't got a chance to watch, if you would please go back and watch them. If you're interested in that type of information, she is creating her own future. She's not allowing someone else to determine her future for her. She's not waiting on other people and complaining that she can't do this and she's stuck and she's being held back. She is creating her own future because she says, who can predict what life can bring? Who can predict what life can bring? She says she often uses these words as a mantra as well as her senior quote. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Time to get to work. Creating your own future. She says she always wanted to be the hardest working person in the room. She encourages others to do the same. Create the future you envision for yourself. This is good news with this young woman. And she's up here. Look at, I'm going to show you this picture right here. She is up on a table sitting and talking and discussing. And you got all these men, one woman it looks like over there, but look at the people that's around her that's engaged. And one of them looked like he on his cell phone and about to go to sleep. But the rest of them are engaged in what she's saying. Look at this. This is good news, people. See it? This is good news. So let me tell you something. We got stories out here that need to be shared to inspire other young people that's struggling or feel like they can't make it or do something, or they feel like they can't get out of the difficult lifestyle that they're in, or they're in gangs, or they're doing things they shouldn't do. We have young people inspiring to be better than who they are. And she says, develop relationships, lean on your mentors. So she looked to support from her soccer coach, Joshua Benfield. She said her teacher and robotics mentor, Alan Landman, is constantly advocating for her in the field of engineering. She also, her guidance counselor, Ellen Green, taught her that being a good person with good character will take you places. Find people in your corner who are rooting for you, she said. And through your journey, take pieces from the people you love. Everyone says they have the best mom, best grandmother in the world, but I truly do and believe it, is what she's saying. So you have to believe what you're talking about. You have to believe in order to receive. And it's the same thing when we go down in prayer. We have to believe what we're praying about, what we're asking God for. We have to believe it in order to receive it. Okay? And she takes direction from her mother, who works in communication, and from her grandmother, Jojo, a former daycare owner, father Antonio, a musician, and a younger sister, Rita, 11. Let me tell you something. She is including people in her journey, and she's looking at the things that they are able to instill in her, and she's taken from those people, though she's taken pieces to help her grow and continue to strive towards her future. She's creating a future for her. And she says, I've taken their characteristics and made it part of my personality. That's what's got me here. So I want to salute Onovu, is what she goes by for short, which is kind of cute. Onovu. You just got to get used to saying it because, but it's a cute name, Onovu. It's different. And I was trying to pronounce her full name, the first full name. Onovu Gakpour is her full name, Onovu Gakpour, and I don't want to mess it up and chop it up, so no disrespect to you, Onovu. I give you big props, young lady. And I thank you for being an inspiration to other young people that are striving to get where you're going. Thank you for having empathy. Thank you for being unselfish. Thank you for striving to create a future for your community, for yourself, representing others in your own community, and hoping for other people to come behind you, that you're not the first. You're the first in your school, but you won't be the last, So I just, I salute you. Big props up to you and your family. And these are stories that need to go viral. These are stories that we should be talking about, saluting our young people for the big things and the good things that they're doing. And then I have one more story to share with you. This is Erica Baidu's son. He graduates. His name is Seven. I believe that's his first name, Andre and Erica Baidu. His son was just accepted into 4 colleges. And it can be easier said and done that, that their parents have money. But let me tell you something. Even parents that have money, sometimes their children don't do things. They get a silver spoon fed in their mouth, and they want a handout, and they don't really do anything. So, some of them go down the same path as their parents and get into acting or music or whatever. So I want to salute this young man, 7. He just received acceptance letters from 4 colleges, and it nowhere in here it says that him and his family paid off colleges to get him in, like the scandal, that scandal with Massimo, them, all of them over there, and Houghton and all of them. It doesn't say they paid off any colleges, any type of college scandal, to get their children in college. And this is no, trying to, disrespect them in any kind of way, but I'm making an example that this is a family, a couple with money. They co-parented together. So it's possible to co-parent together. It's possible to be successful as parents, as co-parenting. As parents that have to co-parent, it is possible to lead your children down a road to success. That is a possibility, but you have to give of yourself, be unselfish, and think about the children first. And we say that a lot. Put the kids first. Put the children first. People say that a lot, but their actions are contrary to what they're talking about. But they put their son first in order to raise them and raise their son to be, to be successful parents as co-parenting. They were able to do it, and he received received acceptance letters from 4 colleges. And so Erica, she made the announcement via Twitter on April 25th, yesterday. This was some time ago. This is obviously an old article, so I maybe be talking about an old article, but I just happened to see it yesterday come up on my news feed. And it's a throwback of her with her baby 7 and an Afro Don and 3 stacks. It does make you feel good when when your children get accepted and they work hard, and you as couples and you had to co-parent, it didn't work out and you guys split up, but yet still you remain active in your son's life, traveling between cities to take care of him and to make sure that he was doing well. And so it's all good. It may be an old article, I'm sure, because it came up on my news feed yesterday. So, hey, but I still want to share that because we don't talk about things like this enough, where our young people are doing big things, are doing big things. So I just want to talk about that. God is so good. He's in the midst of everything, and he's so good. So I pray that your children are being successful if you're raising children, and that you're inspiring them to be better than who they are, and teaching empathy and humility to your children. That's so important, and building character in your children. And it starts very young, not when they get older, but starts very young, for your children. So I lift up every parent that's in their children's life and doing big things to raise their children. If you're co-parenting, have patience, with each other as co-parenting, and always step back, self-reflect, self-evaluate, and say, this is for the child. We're raising a child. Here we are as adults, and we've done what we're supposed to do. And if you are lacking in what you feel, and you feel you missed out on some things, you know what? Pray about it, because now that you have a child, you're going to have to put aside your differences and what you missed out on by having a child, having a child. Now you have to raise a child. So guess what? Now you got to put that child first. And it's never too late to go back and get your education. It's never too late to do those things. And I'm going to encourage you to do it over and over and over. I'm going to encourage you, if you want to get your education and you've had to put it aside to raise a child or children, it's never too late to go back. But guess what? If you're co-parenting, you got to have patience. You got to put your differences aside, put the boxing gloves down, put the gun down, pick up a Bible, put the gun down, and pick up a Bible, pick up knowledge, pick up love, pick up patience, pick up peace, pick up good things, mercy, grace. Pick up those things to raise your children up in the way that they should grow, to train them up in the way they should grow, and they'll never depart from. You can raise some phenomenal children with some great character and humility, but we got to put the guns down. We got to pick up books, pick up a Bible. We got to put away malice, put away silly things and evil things. Put away these arguments and these titles and terminology. Put it away to be the best you can be to raise your child. Become the leader that God has already ordained for you in your life. Become that great leader. You can raise leaders. Become what God has already ordained for your children. And for yourself, work on self. We all need some work. We're not perfect. But God can do a mighty work in us if we just allow it. We got to step back and self-reflect and be a good listener and forgive and be humble. God is awesome and mighty. And I want to thank you all on today for tuning in. God bless you all.